What is going on, guys? Ultimate Deadpool here, and today's topic should be fairly obvious. This is going to be we're going to be talking about Transformers today, one of my favorite franchises of all time, and we're going to go through my very first Transformer to our new series coming up in a little while, based off Transformers. So stay tuned for that, and hope you guys enjoy the video. Be sure to watch this video to the very end for the surprise of the very end. Involving all of these characters in front of you. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into things. Okay, before we get too much farther into this video, I just want to go ahead and say that at the moment, the Deadpool Time and Space series is put on hold until I can get certain pieces to finish it. Trust me, it'll be worth it in the end. So here we have, I believe his name was Trax from Transformers Alternators. Now, Trax was in G1 as well. He started off as a 1969 Corvette Stingray, I believe is what it was. And because it's still a Corvette, they decided to go ahead and do a modern Corvette for the animator show. Now, I don't think he actually or that he's in the show, but if he does, he looks like this. This was actually my very first Transformers action figure. And it's in really good condition. All the original parts are there. The only piece that's technically missing, and I actually know where it is the engine that turns into a gun. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and transform it like so. And there you have it, a 2002 Corvette transformed from Trax. So like I said, this was my very first Transformer figure. And it's in really nice shape. There are a couple of scratches and stuff on the hood, and some faded paint on the tail light, or some of the fenders. The decal for the actual Corvette logo is basically gone on both the front and back. Some of the decals or paint marks and stuff that were over here are kind of gone. But other than that, this thing is in really nice shape for how old it is, and how much it was played with when I was a child. The door panel is a little loose, but that's about it. This thing does actually have a factory defect. It has two left mirrors instead of having one left and one right. The right side is it's upside down. And I had thought about getting that fixed, but if I ever wanted to sell this for some reason, I could always make more off of it because it is a factory defect. Why those are worth more, I don't know, but this is a factory defect Transformer, and oddly enough was my very first Transformer. I had thought about getting another one of these and converting it into the Knight Rider car, because I thought that'd be cool, but I would have no idea where to begin with that. So expect Trax to show up in the new videos, because he was the first Transformer that I ever had. He may end up being called Hot Rod just because I love Hot Rod. He's by far one of my favorite Transformers. If I can actually find a good Hot Rod that's inexpensive, I will go ahead and order that, and it should be here, and expect Hot Rod in many videos. And by the way, people who watched the G1 movie, don't hate Hot Rod. He didn't kill Optimus Prime. It wasn't his fault entirely. He tried to help Optimus, and I meant Optimus, not Megatron. I'm sorry. But he tried to help Optimus, and Megatron was already heading for a gun. So yeah, don't hate Hot Rod for that. It wasn't his fault. And on to the next thing. Okay, now, as an adult, or an adult collector, teenage brat kid, I never really collected a whole lot of major Transformers, just because I didn't have time or money to do it, and plus Transformers at that point, for me, the whole point of Transformers is the puzzles that are basically added to, flip, and it transforms. But my first collected Transformer was the Power of the Prime's Optimus Prime, Now, Optimus Prime was always one of my favorite Autobots as a kid, just because he's just such a badass. I mean, a big semi-truck, you know, awesome, strong voice by Peter Cullen, just freaking amazing character. So I am not going to transform this one because it takes way too long to do it. But I can transform this. This is the one that splits into two different pieces because you've got Orion packs and you have the trailer. But yeah, this is such a cool figure. I may not add this particular version to the new Transformers show that I'm going to do, but expect it in a few videos later on, such as when Optimus Prime fights Scrapper or Creo's Bumblebee or something like that. You know, expect him and stuff like that, but otherwise, nothing major. Next. Okay, this next one needs a little bit of explaining, because it is mine, but it's not. This is the Masterpiece Ultra Magnus from the G1 cartoon or comic books, because for those of you who may not know, Ultra Magnus without armor looks exactly like Optimus Prime except white. And the reason why I said this is technically not mine is this is actually my brother's. I got it for him for his birthday with my own hard-earned money, so technically it is mine. I am holding on to it though until he's old enough to actually use it or maintain it, because he has let's just say not been very gentle with this thing. The finger joints are all broken. Oh, well, not broken, but they're weaker. There's some pieces missing on the arm. So, I mean, and it's okay. You know, he's a kid who likes to play with his stuff, and that's fine. But we both agreed that he wants me to hold on to this until, you know, such time is needed. But I am not going to transform this thing as well. I'm going to save that for another version of Prime. I have a lot of Optimus Primes. But, so this is the Masterpiece version. Is the one that has, you know, all the Matrix and stuff and everything, basically compressed in the chest plates and stuff up here. For some reason, they're not wanting to open, and I'm not going to break it trying to open it up. But this version of Ultra Magnus came with a jetpack. The Masterpiece Optimus does come with one too. I don't remember what happened to mine. So next. Okay, now this is another basically the same thing as you guys just saw, except this is actually Optimus Prime. This is not Ultra Magnus. No, I'm not going to transform this one either, because some of you guys, you may know from when I reviewed this version of Optimus, one of the pieces on his arms broke, and ever since then I've never transformed this thing ever, because I don't want it to get worse. This is a really nice piece, and it's really expensive. Well, not really expensive, but it's not cheap because it's metal. Well, a lot of it's metal, but you know, just like the other one, you know, he's got the whole chest plate thing that has the Matrix and everything inside the little chrome compartment and stuff like that. He's got the same back, you know, where you can store the gun and everything, just like the other one. All in all, this was actually my very first real Masterpiece collecting Transformers Transformer. And there's only one other Masterpiece that I have right now, and it's the San Diego Comic-Con Prime, which you're going to see in a minute. But other than that, this is what really set off my collecting for Transformer, high-end Transformer stuff. Okay, so from when I first got the Masterpiece Prime, I wanted to do a death battle between Optimus Prime and Megatron, because, you know, why not? And I found this version of Megatron. This is the Transformers Netflix special Siege, which I actually love, Siege and Earthrise, and I'm excited to see what they do for the next one. But here's the problem. The Masterpiece Optimus, like, towers over Megatron, and Megatron and Optimus are supposed to be around the same height. So that's why that particular thing never happened. I do have a way to do it because I have a different version of Prime that I can use. But this was my very first No, I take that back. I had the Ice Megatron from the first Transformers movie. I think we still have it somewhere. I personally don't have it, but I know someone in my brother probably has it somewhere. But at some point I was going to get the Dark of the Moon version of Megatron, just so I could have these two battle it out, just because I love freaking Megatron. He's a really good villain, especially when he's voiced by Frank Welker, I'm sorry, who has voiced him since Generation 1. It's kind of a shame that he didn't voice him for Siege, but I guess for the Transformers War for Cybertron trilogy, they wanted a much deeper, darker tone for Megatron just to make him sound more menacing. And unfortunately, they didn't think Frank Welker could do that. He does transform into a tank, which I think is a much cooler thing than a gun, because, you know, that always confused me as a kid. You know, why does this big ass white red truck fight a gun? Essentially. So whoever came up with the idea to have Megatron transform into a tank, real smart move. I don't know why they had him transform into a gun. I think it was just because they were time crunched for sure. But yeah, again, I'm not gonna transform this guy because I just, you know, what the hell. Okay, so there's Megatron. Some of his parts don't want to kind of stay together, but there's proof that that's Megatron. So he does have a sword that transforms into a gun as well. I don't have that with me right now. I definitely expect this version of Megatron to show up in the Transformers show that I'm doing. So, yeah. Expect this version of Megatron. Okay, I accidentally completely forgot about this one earlier. This was one of my first not first Transformers. It was one of my later Transformers. This is obviously Bumblebee. This is the stealth version of Bumblebee that was unfortunately never seen in the movies, but has appeared in multiple versions of cartoons, including but not limited to Transformers Prime, Creo Transformers, Transformers comic books, and stuff like that. That's a color swap version of Bumblebee. And I actually love this particular style of the character. Especially this particular action figure version. This is the Hero or Human Alliance version of Bumblebee, I think is what that's called. And again, this is a fairly old version of this is a fairly old toy, and it's in really, really nice shape. There's not a scratch on this thing. I've been very careful with it when I used it as a kid. I think if there's any major scratch on it, there's nothing. It's not like a quick look and that's it. It's not just, you know, oh my god, you know, you can't see it type thing. I think maybe some of the paint is fading on a lot of the parts that moves to help transform it. I do not have the human that went with him, Sam. I don't have him anymore. He broke a long time ago. But I have the main thing. So, but I definitely expect this version of Bumblebee as well as the real Bumblebee. Once I can track the Human Alliance Bumblebee down, expect that version to also appear in the Transformers show as well, just because I don't actually have a G1 Bumblebee. So expect this version, and bear with me. Okay, moving on. So now this is about the time when I started, you know, the second channel, and the new channel, because the old one got terminated, and I wanted to do more Transformer-y videos, but I could never find the right way to do it, and I still technically haven't found the right way to do it. And I came across this thing on the internet, and just blew my freaking mind, because it was like a clash of some of my favorite things combined ever. And you can hear it clanking in the background. But this is the San Diego Comic-Con's exclusive 2019 Ghostbusters Optimus Prime. And I am a dork for Ghostbusters anything, I have Ghostbusters replicated proton pack. I've got the PKE meter. I've got the ghost trap. I've got a full Ghostbusters outfit. I have Ghostbusters, almost all the Ghostbuster Lego sets except for the 2016's crap. Let's see. I've got all of the Ghostbuster Legend figures or whatever that they released early last year. I've got almost all the Funko Pop Ghostbusters. I have a lot of Ghostbuster stuff, and I collect Ghostbusters. I've been collecting Ghostbuster stuff since I first found out about Ghostbusters. That was always one of my favorite things as a kid, was Ghostbusters. I love the show. I love the movies, except for the 2016 remake. I am a little bit hesitant on Afterlife, but we'll see what happens when we go from there. So, I was going to transform this particular Masterpiece Optimus, because that's exactly what this is. This is an upscaled version of the Masterpiece Optimus Prime. But I'm not going to do it only because this has a lot of extra parts for including his laser cannon as the proton blaster, as well as his actual proton pack itself, which normally for a regular transformation would not be that hard to remove, but I really don't want to break this thing, and while anything can happen, I don't want it to happen. But really, really nice detail on this thing. This thing is freaking huge and awesome. I think this is actually bigger than the Power of the Prime's Optimus. So, yeah, this... Okay, well, that's a terrible angle. Yeah, this is actually taller than the Power of the Prime's Optimus. But this is probably one of my prized possessions that I have in my collection of crap. Just because the chrome is in the right place, the transparent LED or red stuff on there, the green glass, all the paint work on this thing is phenomenal, and it just overall looks so cool. And I would love to see Ghostbusters do a Transformers crossover in a movie, or at least a episode in an animated show. I think that would be freaking awesome, but it's probably never going to happen, but one can hope, right? So, on to the next stuff. Alright, and from then, Transformers for me was secondary stuff. It was always a collecting secondary stuff. Until my brother got a model kit that was Autobot Megatron for some strange reason. They made Megatron an Autobot. And I went to the store, and I found the Decepticon version of that, and he has appeared in at least one video. I think it was Megatron Commands You or something like that. It was some bullshit video that didn't get anything. But this is Megatron from and this is a model kit. So this is highly, highly posable. Every single joint on this thing moves. Even his belt moves, which that's weird. But this is a really, really cool figure. And it is a bitch to put together. So if you find one of these things and you want to buy it, just know you are going to spend hours putting it together. So, and if you don't put every piece in exactly right, it is going to fall apart like a son of a gun. So this might appear in the Transformers show. If it doesn't, is because I pulled the plug on it simply because these things are very fragile, because they're not meant to be used. They're meant to be put together, put in a box, and left on a shelf for people to admire. But overall, this thing is freaking cool. I mean, all the details right where it should be. You've got tank treads up here. You've got freaking highly posable head, highly posable body, highly posable legs, arms, you name it. This thing is freaking cool. And then you add that plus the chrome decals. Now the chrome decals are kind of just there just to add decals to it. But I went ahead and put them on just because it was part of the thing. And then you got the Decepticon logo in the middle, which is awesome. So this is definitely another one of my, I guess you could say, prized possessions, just because I never thought I'd be able to put it together. And it looks really good. Everything on it works. It doesn't fall apart, which is what I was afraid of. I was afraid it was just going to fall apart. And then I made the big mistake of getting 2 versions of this thing, which is what we're going to get to in a minute. So, all in all, this will probably not appear in the thing just because I don't want anything to happen to it because it does not fall apart. But if it does, it's only going to be for like a quick cameo appearance. Okay, and here's why I said I technically don't have a G1 Bumblebee. Yes, this is supposed to be G1's Bumblebee. But this has major problems. And we'll go into each one of these separately in a different video. But just know that they are both crap. Optimus Prime especially, for some reason they gave him a humongous ass and like a scrawny little grill for his torso, and then like a humongous chest area for some stupid reason. It is as posable as Megatron, but for some reason, it may just be mine, but for some reason it has a weak arm joint. So the arm, or the one of the blaster arms, falls apart fairly easily. And it does not have as much clutch power as it should. And I broke the toes off, so the toes are kind of screwed up. But yeah, just know if you ever find something like this in a store, if you want to try it, go for it. You may get a better kit than what I did. But personally, I do not like this version of Optimus Prime. If this version of Optimus Prime appears in any videos, he's literally just going to be there to be a casualty. Because this version of Optimus Prime is just, and because it is a model kit, you do have a whole bunch of extra parts to work with, and I understand why I don't want, I understand why it does what it does. It does fall apart fairly easily because it is just a bunch of plastic portions pushed together, but either I got the bad kit of the bunch, or this is overall just a really bad set. So, if you guys want to try it, I'll leave a link in the description below, provided I remember this later on. But just know that this is, for me personally, is not a good build. And there goes his toes again. So, but overall, G1 design, overall design for this version of Optimus, it's a 6 because the big ass and the skinny torso and stuff, it looks ridiculous. Not my cup of tea. Bumblebee, on the other hand, has the complete opposite. I don't know why the hell they thought, hey, let's add the tires on the shoulders instead of having them on his back. The overall build for Bumblebee is ridiculous. I spent 45 minutes trying to figure out how to put the head together. Or no, not the head, the chest plate together. His feet are ridiculously oversized. And I get it's supposed to represent a VW bug, but VW bugs are not this complicated. The upper portion of the torso is very, very flimsy because it's literally just a whole bunch of rubber and plastic pushed together. For some reason, these particular builds feel the need to have you build everything, including their crotch. And for some reason, Bumblebee does not want to stay together at all. So just like Optimus Prime, if this version of Bumblebee shows up, he's literally just going to show up to get blown up. Because while these two are very cool in the sense that I was able to put them together, YouTube video-wise, they are crap. So, that's why they would get blown up in almost any scene that they get shown in. Or they can always be target practice, or clones, or whatever. So anyway, on to the next stuff. Okay, now for the one that I'm sure you guys have been clicking on this video like crazy for. This is the Transformers Movie Edition Grimlock. Now, I can't remember exactly what particular brand or whatever that they chose for it. I think it's not the Masterpiece Grimlock, but it's something similar to it. So this is obviously in Dino mode, so his jaw opens up. And I saw this at super target of all things. And like I said, I had a Grimlock before. It was the Transformers animated version, and it was okay. You know, I had fun playing with it as a kid, but you know, I saw this and I'm like, I gotta have it. I've got to have it. So I'm gonna go ahead and transform this into robot mode or Autobot mode, and show you guys what that looks like. Whoops. Okay, so Grimlock is fairly easy to transform. I actually did. Now, keep in mind, and this is I can always call my brother in for something like this later. Most of the Transformers that you've seen in these videos, I did not use any instructions on. I was literally able to just pick it up, flip, 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 and I was able to figure it out. That is not a lie by any sense of the word. You can ask any one of my family members, and they will all say the same thing. So this version of Grimlock especially is going to appear in tons of Transformer videos, just because Grimlock was always one of my favorite Dinobots. He was actually my favorite Dinobot, and I've always wanted to do is meet Grimlock and everything, and it was just such a fun character. So on to the last character, which was oddly enough not the first time you've seen the character before. But anyway, let's move on to the last character. And appearing for the umpteenth time, this is another Optimus Prime. Now that I think about it, Optimus Prime was one of my favorite Transformers as a kid, but Hot Rod and Bumblebee were always my personal favorites. And yet I have 1 Bumblebee and 0 Hot Rods. That's funny. I never thought about that until just now. So anyway, this version of Optimus Prime is going to appear in a lot of videos because this is the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy Earthrise Optimus. Now, here's my tiff with that. I absolutely hate the voice actor that they chose for Optimus Prime in the Transformers War for Cybertron Trilogy, because he just doesn't sound like Optimus Prime. He sounds like too try hard and not quite there, and I just like Peter Cullen better. So I am going to go ahead and transform this version of Optimus Prime. This thing is actually very easy to transform. I don't know if it's called I don't know if it's referred as a masterpiece line, but it is fairly intricate on how everything works, even though it's very, very easy. Alright, so like I said, very easy to transform. It has a really nice intricate puzzle, which is what I always loved about Transformers, is the way that they figure out, the ways they figure out to flip, 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 and have everything come together in vehicle mode, while also having a really clever way of doing it as well. It's not just a simple flip, 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 it's always a puzzle. And actually the only puzzles I actually like. But anyway, like I said earlier, this version of Optimus Prime is going to appear in a lot of videos, especially this Transformers series that I'm doing, and I'm running out of data, so I'm going to go ahead and finish up this video. Alright, so now time for the big announcement. I am going to do a Transformers mini-series, and it's going to be dedicated to only Transformers. There are not going to be any minifigures involved whatsoever. If there are, it's only going to be a quick cameo appearance and nothing more. All it's going to be is just straight up Transformers beating the shit out of each other. I do need a couple of pieces before I can do it, but just rest assured it's on its way. As soon as I come up with a really cool intro for it, you guys will see that as one of my intro videos, and so on and so forth. Transformers, the mini show, will come out. Most likely it's just going to be Transformers versus Transformer Death Battles and stuff like that, but it'll fall under the same essence as the show. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video was long. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of insight on my backstory and my life, as well as a little bit of insight on what to expect in the future. Again, thank you guys so much. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you guys all next time on Ultimate Deadpool. Peace out. You guys are awesome. I'll see you guys all later. Bye.